What is going on, everybody? It's episode 134 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Please introduce yourself.
What is up, crisis actors? It's Mary.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking before set. I hadn't quite switched it to the scene we needed to be in, and we almost caught a cuss word before we went live. Ooh, it would have been very bad.
Oh.
And I'm working on not saying the R word in articles anymore. So we're gonna keep it up, and we're gonna have
our vices.
Yes, we're gonna make this.
Yours.
This show will be family friendly by the end of this lifetime, if all goes well. By the way, we have a guest host today. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, everyone. Dane Font here, marketing man extraordinaire, and the patron saint of White Boy Summer.
That you are, which Chet Hanks will one day agree with.
One day.
For
a price, I'm sure.
Well, like
maybe $200.
Is that how much the cameo was going to cost?
It's how much he was asking it for from a fan who DM'd him.
Oh man,
so
that's so awesome.
If that's his price point,
$200.
Promising.
$200 for a Chet Hanks cameo seems so worth it to me. Like right now.
Cameo at your birthday party.
Dude. don't
Everyone
get
get in line to take a picture with Chet Hanks.
Dude, that would be.
It's just a Chet Hanks meet and greet.
That would be the greatest thing.
My God.
See, if there was a good way to spend my birthday, I'm down with that one. I'd
from
be down
your
with that
word,
one.
from your mouth to God's ears, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
We're manifesting this.
We can make it happen. You never know. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. I want to talk about the box office and both the success of Top Gun as well as a bunch of other stuff interesting relating to both Morbius, Doctor Strange in comparison to the Batman. There's just a bunch of stuff going on there. We're also going to talk about an interesting article involving the actor who portrayed the stunt character of Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi, having some very interesting things to say about Disney. And then we are also going to talk about Jason Momoa getting in trouble in the age of you're not allowed to not say anything, but you're also not allowed to not say anything on top of that. So we got a bunch of stuff. We got Podluck. We got all that. If you two are ready, we can just get right into it. Are you ready, Mary?
We're ready.
Are you ready, Dane?
I am.
All right. So it says box office Top Gun 2 scores record $90 million second weekend, crosses $550 million globally. And that second number I actually think is very, very important here because one of the things that they talk about a lot is that people were complaining about the kind of raw Americanism of the movie, right? Which there was a lot of articles starting to come out like because American journalists wanting a pro-America movie is like not even possible in the year 2020.
It was rather understated, but you would understand why because people are so sensitive to that these days.
And it's the American military. There has to be at least some. It's so weird because it seems to be a uniquely American thing to be anti your own country these days,
or at least anti your own military.
Yeah. So it says Top Gun Maverick is enjoying the lowest drop in history. So it's the lowest drop in. When they mean by drop is like how much did it make in week 1 to week 2? Like obviously it's going to be less. This is the lowest drop ever for a box office film.
Hey, sorry, before we get any deeper, I'm hearing from chat a lot that me and Mary are low.
Oh,
are you? Okay.
All right. Sorry, guys. See, we take your input.
Yeah, I saw that, but I wasn't sure if they were saying, like,
go for
everyone was low.
Keep going.
I'm talking, and we are checking my audio right now.
Dane?
Yo, this is Dane Font on Pop
It's
Culture
Morbin
Crisis.
Time. Good.
I mean, I think so, yeah. Chat, let us know if we're good, please.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going for it. Hopefully that's better. Good?
Yep.
All right. So it says the Paramount Skydance tentpole starring Tom Cruise is doing massive business in its second weekend at the box office. The sequel earned $90 million to boast the smallest decline ever, just 29%, and that's even lower than I thought. Before, the one I got earlier was 32% box office drop from week 1 to week 2, and that's the smallest for a film opening domestically to $100 million or more. Shrek 2 opened to $108 million and only fell 33%. I don't know how long ago Shrek 2 was, but that was a long time ago.
How long does it have in the box office?
120 days. I looked it up.
How long has it been so far?
It's only been 2 weeks. So this film has a 120-day theater exclusive before it can go to Paramount Plus. So it's going to get its money worth. I would hope to see. It would be cool to me if this movie became Tom Cruise's first billion-dollar box office film.
It would be cool, even though I'm cynical about this, to see a movie that's doing successfully that is decidedly not just packed full of messaging.
Yep, and I think that's why it seems like the messaging is almost exclusively for American audiences these days, because we seem to be the country that seems to be struggling with that kind of whether it's political correctness, whether it's your quote unquote wokeism, though I hate that term.
I mean, I can't help but feel like there must have been a lot of people involved in the making of this movie who wanted to take it into that direction.
Oh, I'm sure. But Jerry Bruckheimer, who's the producer on this movie and also produced the original, is kind of an old school Hollywood dude. So at the very least, even if he was amenable to that, I think the rest of, whether it's Kaniski, the guy who directed it, and Tom Cruise wanting to keep it, because most of Tom Cruise's movies are fairly nondescript as far as actual messaging. Mission Impossible movies don't really have much messaging in them at all.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. What is like the metric where you're like, this is a good sales movie?
What do you mean?
What's usually the number? Like 50 million on a weekend?
Did you say like $1 billion domestically or globally?
I would love to see it. Well, no, yeah, seeing it make $1 billion overall would be fantastic to me.
That's generally, it seems like, what they're shooting for.
But like, what's like the metric where like this movie was successful?
Well, it's already made its money back, I'm sure, or at least it's getting close to making its money back, and that's the most important metric, I think, for all of it. And it's already well above where the old movie went as well, which is also very, making more than what the original.
That's telling of word of mouth, because I've been telling people to go see it.
Yes. Okay, so that's the other thing I wanted to mention is this is Tom Cruise's highest-grossing domestic film of all time, but it's also it's almost doing as big internationally. So it's a $296 million here in the U.S., 257 overseas, which is kind of a commentary on the ability for a movie with universal themes, meaning non-politically correct, non-current year themes, to reach an audience greater than just that of its home country.
It wasn't even specifically like, oh, it's politically incorrect. It's just not
propaganda.
Yeah, it's just not propaganda, which is so crazy that,
there it goes.
Like, that's what we expect every time. Now it's a surprise when it's not that.
Wowzers.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so it says internationally, Top Gun is already well ahead of the $176 million earned by the original film, and that's not just adjusted for inflation, which is also an important number here. All these numbers that they're giving for this film are not adjusted for inflation, meaning that it's doing good even without adjusting the figures there. And it says that let's see down here. It says in North America, Top Gun is the playing field largely to itself next week, and then next weekend when Jurassic World Dominion comes out, and we are going to go see that and talk about that movie with Chris Pratt. So I do think that that's also good that more movies, like most Chris Pratt movies, are also.
I mean, I thought it looked really stupid in the trailer.
I love stupid movies from time to time. That doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me one bit. So it says okay, so go down here a little bit further. It says internationally, Top Gun Maverick is already well ahead of the $176 million. The UK leads with $39.7 million. I actually got a couple of messages from people from the UK who said that they really liked it, and that the military themes are kind of universal to every country, has their own, a form of patriotism shouldn't be looked at as something that's a negative. It should just be looked at as something that is a factor of life in your country. And I don't think this movie pushes necessarily a military message. It just pushes like a message between people in different situations, and it's got more to do with the relationships of the people than it does the American military. But I also want to talk about Morbius, which is I have a question. I have a question. I want to know, in the age we live in, is it possible for corporations as large as, in this case, Sony or Disney or Paramount, can they really understand something as democratized as the internet? Because they misread this, and Sony has done very well in the last year, whether you want to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife, Spider-Man No Way Home.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, so they see this meme campaign saying it's Morbin time.
Yeah.
And they think, and they don't understand that doesn't mean that people want to go back into theaters to see it.
Yeah, they didn't understand that was mocking the movie because nobody actually liked it.
Is it possible for a corporation that size to really understand something as individually based as the internet? Does that make sense?
I mean, at first I was thinking the meme campaign was actually just being put on like dead internet.
Yeah, by bots.
As just like a psyop by Sony. Like I literally thought that they were like, yikes, this kind of tanked. Maybe we can like stoke the flames with some like fake viral media campaign.
But then they would need more proof that beyond the fake viral media campaign that they started, they would need proof that it actually
caught on.
Yes, exactly.
And I never felt like it did because I never saw these memes, and I like to think I am up to date on like what's going on the internet, like internet culture, and I did not see any of this. I see people talking about it. It just seems very astroturfed.
So Mary's the official Timcast meme star.
I'm the meme expert. I don't know if I want to take that on though.
I'm just here for the memes.
So
I'm no Benny Johnson.
Here's the thing. People have in the past watched things to hate on them.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, I'm sure this guy didn't come cheap.
Leto? No, I'm sure he doesn't.
So they have to make up the money somehow. You know, if it's him just like taking egg in the face and be like, haha, it's Morbin time, and saying things where he knows absolutely where they're clowning him, I think that's the direction they're going. They're just like trying in any...
Thank you.
Sorry, it always freaks me out. They're just trying in any way possible to like pretty much like make up the deficit that they've had with this like movie.
Yeah. So, but it says Jared Leto's film was re-released in over 1,000 theaters across the United States, earning just $85,000. That's all it was able to pull in over 1,000 theaters, and $280,000 over the weekend. So
what did they think was gonna happen?
I have no idea, dude.
This is actually just more embarrassing for them.
That's what I'm saying. Like Sony has done, whether we're talking Ghostbusters Afterlife, whether we're talking about all the variant, what was the other one that they had, and they did fairly well with, I almost said Sonic, but Sonic was Paramount. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then they also had Spider-Man No Way Home. Like you'd think that a studio that seems to be catching on as to giving the fans what they want, meaning like with Ghostbusters Afterlife was both a good sequel, and actually that's funny because remember last week we were talking about, I think it was on Friday, we were talking about what's a good example of a movie that had a sequel made like many years later that actually didn't end up being awful.
The Godfather.
Well, but I'm like Spider-Man, Ghostbusters Afterlife is an example of that, and Sony made that movie. So they clearly understand that they know what to give fans what they want, but they just couldn't read the room as far as this marketing campaign and didn't realize that it wasn't going to actually be something that was going to catch on and get more people back to the theaters.
Here's my opinion on how you give fans what they want. I think the way to do fan service is you have to do it subtly, because the fan has to understand that like, oh, this actually means that, and I know it because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Anyone that is just peripheral... Oh, that word's really hard for me. Can you say it?
Peripheral?
Peripherally?
Yeah. Anyone that's...
Yeah.
Peripherally watching won't get it. Thus, you know, it makes them feel like they belong, like a little extra.
Yeah.
But like the movies that are doing, what's it called? Fan service right now is Star Wars, where like... And
it's not even fan service because the fans dislike it.
Right. Yep. I mean, some do. Some are like, actually, it's part of the lore for Chewbacca to be ordering a sandwich at Arby's.
They think anything that is like possibly like vaguely reconcilable with the source material is just like a good idea to include, and that doesn't
and you have we do have the moment that the meme killed itself. We can listen to that here. Beware, I don't know how the audio is going to sound here, but let's give this a shot here. So this was when Jared Leto killed the meme.
A moment of silence for a meme dying.
Nothing really. Just no. Oh, well.
Yep. So
Bro thought he was in on the
joke. Yeah, he's not in on. He's
for
not
those
in on the joke.
For those listening, not watching, he was pretending to read the script for a sequel to Morbius called "It's Morbin Time."
And the name of the writer was Bartholomew Cubbins, which might be my new pen name after today. I might actually take that. That might be the only funny part of that whole thing.
Unintentionally.
And then the first response just says, "And the meme is dead."
Yeah.
The joke is now dead.
So the meme was always if it was ever real in the first place, it was that Morbius is the butt of the joke.
Yes.
It's just like, hey, fellow kids, you like memes?
Yep.
You know,
Memes?
do you like memes? Like they just
We got
don't
memes.
get it.
So I just want to finish up and say that's $291 million for Top Gun Maverick at only a 32% drop. That number was later amended by The Hollywood Reporter. I don't know how accurate that is. I can't prove either one right or wrong. The other one said 29% pulled in. So that's 86 thank you.
Thanks.
An $86 million weekend. That's 291 total. And it's only on week 2, and that does have a theater life of 120 days. So that's going to get many more weekends. And if it does, like you said, Mary, earlier, you mentioned word of mouth is important. With strong word of mouth and an audience that wants to show up for it, there's something to be said. This could be a $1 billion movie by the time it's done.
How do you think you get word of mouth though?
Say it again.
Like what are the factors that achieve word of mouth?
In this case, I think that it's not just. First of all, one of the best ways to start it off, oddly enough, isn't through the general public, but it's when the studio allows the reviewers to review early. Automatically increases chances of good word of mouth, because most people who pay attention to reviewers know that the later that a studio puts a review embargo down, meaning that they prevent you from releasing a review for the public, the longer they hold that review, the less likely it is that the movie's good, because it means that they don't have anything good to say about it. They don't want you hearing it until the very last minute. So they were allowing reviews of Top Gun Maverick 2 weeks before the movie came out. And I think that, on top of the fact that Tom Cruise did his speech at the beginning of the movie, where he thanked people for coming out to the film, and it felt organic, that all the good positive press I was seeing about it after that initial piece was all from regular people, not from websites, not from geek accounts or whatever you want.
And that excluding the Kelly McGinnis, is that her name?
McGillis.
Yeah. Talking about how she wasn't invited back.
And she didn't even really seem negative about it. She just kind of seemed like matter of fact
it was
over
other
what was
people
going
who
on.
were making it a bigger deal than it was.
Yes, and there had been some negative pushback afterwards with articles that are like angry at the pro-America message, which of course is ridiculous.
When I think of like people like spreading like God, I'm forgetting terms. Like the reputation of a movie amongst their friends, right? Like word of mouth. Oh my God, that was Dane trying to say word of mouth. Yep. So when I see people trying to spread word of mouth, I think hipsters, right? Okay. So I think that
Thank you.
It's like almost the inverse of a hipster. Is that I know this and I want to be known as the person who shared this with my friend. You know, it's like I saw the movie and like I see Brett every day and like, hey Brett, hey Dane, and like Brett, you gotta go watch this movie. I know you'll love it because like. He's my friend, and he'll associate me with the process of enjoying the movie, and then we can have a moment, right? And like I feel like that can be done for movies that don't pander, because it could be like, hey, they have like in the movie maybe they have this like internal joke, and it's similar to an internal joke that you and I would have. Yeah. Maybe like, oh my God, Mary, watch this movie, like you'll get it completely. Like remember, that's how word of mouth I think organically spreads. But like the way that the woke mafia is trying to do is like, you have to watch this movie because it's the representative of X, Y's, and C's. And it's like, you know what? Like
there's also a different tone to it. Like, okay, like I don't ever talk about, like as much as we talk here, I don't ever talk about stuff that I don't like on my, like the closest thing I could say that to giving something a negative review that I've done lately is I posted something about how I didn't think the show We Own the City lived up to the predecessor work of David Simon on The Wire. And that's about as close to me being negative on social media about a movie is. Like I'll say something like, maybe I didn't like it that much. But in this case, I don't say much positive either, unless it's really positive, unless it's something that really speaks to me. And I made several posts about Top Gun Maverick. That's what I think of as organic word of mouth, meaning that me, who doesn't have a super large following of people, but still felt strongly enough about this movie to share it out to whoever it is yelling into the void, that's organic word of mouth. Yeah. We went and saw it. We felt that it was good. We shared that ideal with people.
Right.
I think it has to leave a really strong impression on me to ever tell someone to go watch something.
Absolutely. Do you want to do super chats?
Sure. First, Yellow Fluffy Feathers sent $2 with a cute gif of a pear.
It looks like a pear. I think it's a pear.
Crystalline Evans sent $5.
Thank you, Crystalline.
Caper2X said, Brett, be aware. The Navy has approval rights over the script, or they would not allow the use of their ships, planes, and people. No overt politics.
Which is weird.
That was why.
Which is weirdly in contradiction with like the military ads we're seeing these days, which are weirdly overly political at times. So that's good though. That's if they're looking for something that's going to attract the highest number of people to the profession, like the original Top Gun did, then they want to appeal to everyone and not just one group of people. And people have to remember that this movie wasn't also a product of its time. I mean, the cast in this movie was extremely diverse. It was well made. All the, like, for instance, a lot of people would complain like it's a military movie. Like, there were women in the movie and all the women were highly capable and good at their jobs. Like, it's not like it was misogynistic, but it just wasn't.
And it wasn't in a one-upping manner. Like,
exactly.
That was not the focus.
I'm sure it wasn't like, you know what, we've never had a female flying captain before.
Exactly.
And I think it's time to change.
Yeah, even when they had the character of Hangman, who would have been like, you know, the chauvinist, who's always trying to one-up her, like, they didn't make that a thing.
Yep. And he was kind of like that with everyone.
He had that attitude towards everybody.
There was no character like, you don't deserve to be here because you're a woman. It was the point of it was that everyone here, there was another female who had less screen time than her, were all known as being, because they're all at Top Gun, flying for this mission, the best of the best in their fields.
There was also no condescension towards Tom Cruise's character because
he's old
of his age.
Exactly. All right, there's a couple more in there.
Yeah. Waffles Sensei said, the boys had a whole point about this in season 2, how corporate pays third-party groups make up memes that are not clever in order to manipulate the public into thinking ideas or bad movies are good.
It's an interesting world we live in now where they have like a second chance at making something win again just by like an overt meme strategy.
But then they had it flop again.
Yep.
Dude, I'll never forget being 23 years old in my first job in an advertisement agency, making like a proposal to them, being like, we should market with memes before it becomes lame.
Yeah.
If you're the early adopter of this, you will be seen as cool, and then everyone will imitate, and then you were the cool person that started. And everyone was like, no one's ever going to use memes on social media.
Like, literally the most powerful form of thought transference and getting across ideas that there is through memes.
I know.
One of my oddly enough, one of my favorite memes is a meme about it's like a job advertisement for a meme maker for a company. It was like $60,000 to $80,000 a year, and it said, "Don't ever let your parents tell you to give up on your dreams of making memes for a living." So,
marketing was mimetic before memes were even a thing. Yellow Fluffy Feathers sent $5 with a gif of hippos this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
F Off said, the only people who hate watch stuff are the ones who have already paid for it, i.e. streaming service, free altogether, or the small group that will pay to talk crap. Yeah,
there's a growing, we've done a couple of videos on it, not recently, that there's a growing popularity for free streaming services like Tubi and Freevee and all these other sites that, you know, a lot of people are like, look, I just don't want to pay $80 a month so that I can have every streaming service. I can stomach a couple of commercials from time to time. I myself cannot. I despise commercials. So I do pay out of pocket. But it's also... and yes, there is like a whole class of like really talented YouTubers who can like hate watch stuff and review it and make me laugh more than the show could have ever hoped to do. Even as awful as it was, they can make me laugh by watching Batwoman or these other awful shows that nobody actually likes.
I feel like that should be like Pop Culture Crisis bonus content. Is us three just hate watching stuff?
Brett couldn't take it.
I would lose.
You're not resilient enough for it. Unless we do it together and we're like laughing about it.
Yeah, I would lose.
It's lighthearted.
I would absolutely lose my mind if that happened. Yeah. I don't think I could do that. It would be very hard for me to not just walk out of the room.
Well, we'll call it Dana Mary Hate Things.
That's what makes it fun, though, is watching you.
I mean, yeah, if you want to watch, like, okay, there's a YouTuber that I really like named Heel vs. Babyface, and he would watch.
Excuse me, what's it called?
Heel vs. Babyface is the name of his channel, and you can watch him watch like Batwoman and slowly now I'm sure some of it's performance, but I think a lot of it's like he's watching this truly awful show, and you kind of see him descending into madness.
Yeah, that's the whole appeal. real.
Like, I don't want to descend into madness for the
it's already happening to you anyway.
I mean,
just slowly.
Okay, fine. Let's
just accelerate that process.
Let's not. I want to increase my shelf life. Thank you. I want to increase my shelf life, not shorten it. There's one more in there.
Oh, the one that we just got.
Yeah.
Caber2X said, "Guys, what do you consider political? They see as patriotic and as a recruiting film. Age is not important. Experience and rank are. He is a captain." I think you meant to say what you guys consider political, they see as patriotic.
Yeah. Okay, I thought they were asking, like, what do we think is politically? I think there's a problem. We sometimes misinterpret social issues in politics. Like, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about whatever thing Disney's going through with Ron DeSantis. It's just not what I want to talk about here. I understand there's a lot of people that do. But you cannot get away from the concept of social issues in movies and stuff like that. And for the most part, Top Gun stayed true to itself and what it was trying to portray. Like you said, Chain of Command, it felt very authentic and very real to me, even though having not served in the military, it felt real to me. It did not feel a victim of today's modern view of the world.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Oh, we had a blip there for a second. All right, so let's move on. We are going to talk about Darth Vader. Did you guys read this article about Darth Vader? Okay, so Darth Vader suit actor in Obi-Wan Kenobi claims Disney never paid me for my rehearsals or my reshoots. Keep that in mind, given that Disney's like a gazillion-dollar company.
Like, they literally could if they wanted to, but they just decided to kick this guy while he was down.
Yep.
Just, why not?
So his name is Dmitry's Bistrevsky. And he is odd. I think he's Russian, but he's from the Ukraine.
Am I sorry, unrelated, but like, am I recalling this incorrectly? That maybe I have, in the next episodes I'll see.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like the stunts or the acting in where Darth Vader was in the suit was that involved.
Not yet.
It seemed like anyone could have performed that. So was he gonna like do something actually?
But it's also true that, like, in a lot of times when they film these shows, a lot of stuff ends up on the cutting room floor. So there could have been
they
whole
just
sequences.
Planned for like a ton of stuff.
Yes,
and then cut it.
The editing process is really the last storyteller in film, so it's very possible that whole
maybe
scene.
They shouldn't have, because they included like 30 seconds of panning, like in different angles of Darth Vader's face with flames going up, and it's like with dramatic music, and you're just like, all right, we get it. So he's standing in front of the fire.
So it says Dmitry's Bistrevsky, who served as one of the three actors behind the suit of iconic Star Wars villain Darth Vader in Disney's Obi-Wan Kenobi, has accused Disney of refusing to pay him for the time he spent doing rehearsals and reshoots in service of the show's production. The Ukrainian-born Bistrevsky leveled his accusations against the entertainment conglomerate on May 28th, unconventionally releasing a series of statements, each of which appears to have been either written in his mobile phone's notes app or sent in conversation to an unknown individual, and he's minting them as NFTs, which is the funniest part.
It looked like text messages that he minted as NFTs, because he was referring to someone named Tom, and no one knows who Tom is.
Now I want the NFT to be a picture of Tom.
Dude,
I want to know who. Maybe it's Tom from MySpace.
Minimum bid $2 million.
Yeah. So it says he's offering them up for auction on the NFT marketplace OpenSea. Offering up his individual numbered series of statements under the set title of Truth, with 90% of proceeds going to relief efforts related to the current invasion of his home country. Bistrevsky explained in his first piece, they never paid me for my rehearsals, and though I didn't want to do the reshoots because I didn't want to go into the darkness again, I'm glad I did because it allowed me to make peace with the character and stop fighting with him. They told me to think about the fans. So they totally guilt-tripped him until, he's like, I don't know if I want to do it. And they're like, well, you don't want to let the fans down,
That's
do
so
you?
manipulative.
That's so evil.
He said that this was 31 rehearsals that were 4 hours long each time.
And he got, the first 16 were for free or something like that.
What?
So this is something, oddly enough, that happened a lot in skating. When the way they kept you from, wanting to get paid would be like, well, aren't you just good? Because most kids who start skating, their dream is to one day get sponsored by these companies that they loved growing up, right? Disney is a lot like that for a lot of these people. They love
using the leverage of like, oh, isn't this your passion?
It's an honor. It's an honor.
Oh my
like
God.
we're doing you a favor.
They would do that to us. Like, so you're like, well, I would certainly like to have like health insurance and like to make money. They're like, but we give you free skates and we fly you to competitions, and it's an honor.
Paid
to
an
ride
exposure.
For this. Yeah, like it's an honor to ride for this company. And when you're 20 years old, that's all well and good. But when you get older, that's not the same thing. And so it feels like that's what they're doing. You're like, well, don't you love Star Wars? Don't you love playing Darth Vader? You don't want to let the other Vader fans down, do you?
It's just so condescending because like the joke is like you get paid an exposure. Well, you as a company.
Well, that's not really what they did to him.
No, but like
they're paying him in guilt is what they're doing.
Understood, but like I'm sure like the angle is kind of like, oh, you know, now you have your name on this like top tier show.
Yep.
But it's like you get paid in exposure. Well, you've made me into a product and a commodity where my value to you is being exposed, you know? Like I am your exposure, I am your brand's exposure. Like paying me an exposure just means you're just defining the method of which you're using me.
Yeah.
Like that is like I can't take exposure to the bank. It's like, sir, I will have 2 steaks. Actually, I've had quite a lot of exposure, so you just write that to the bank. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sure to some extent this role will, help him get more in the future, but for now it's looking like, I mean, at least if he's telling the truth and if these are a personal message.
It's English is not his first language, I think, judging by the way
some of the wording
was
a little
unique.
yeah.
So it says, he says, I did, he continued. And then after they didn't pay me for the promo shoot I walked, they said it was a mistake and offered to pay me double for the reshoots. I just took the bare minimum and told them I didn't want to work with them anymore. It reminds me of somebody who's like you're buying drugs and then they're like, you're short. You're like, oh, don't, sorry, I don't have it all now. I'll pay you double next week.
I think he was also referring to wanting to go back and be in the circus. If he's a stunt actor, he's like in the circus. I think that's more enjoyable than like being a slave to Disney.
Yep. He says, Bystrovsky then reflected on how the project was a monkey paw. He says, quote, this project was a monkey paw for me. I spent every moment and every penny training for it, and then every penny I earned to recover spiritually and emotionally from the role.
Okay.
That's how you know he's not an American, because he wants to recover spiritually from work.
I'm done with him.
Yeah.
Never mind, abuse him. Never mind.
Wait, why?
Recover spiritual and emotionally. Get out of here with that word I can't say.
He's too soft. He should have just taken it.
Just the little tinks in me can't handle that. Keep that to yourself.
I get the instinct,
Be a
but
man.
F Disney. Like I get the instinct, but Disney sucks. So it says, and then in the end, I didn't even earn a penny. I just survived and endured a year. He added, I haven't been able to fix the AC in my car, but now everyone will think that I'm rich and will get mad if I don't tip them enough. When in actuality, I was already broke by the time we got to reshoots. But he says, and then so he's going through now. Each of these statements is a separate, as far as I understand, is a separate NFT.
Just so you guys know, the minimum bid on each of these statements is getting slowly, like incrementally raised. So these first ones, the minimum bid is at like the equivalent of about $18,000 each. I don't know if anyone is actually bidding on them. Maybe this was just because he doesn't want to have a Twitter account. He doesn't want to get like quote tweeted, and this is the only way.
He says, but I told them the truth and told them I didn't want to work with a company that steals from its own people, said the actor. But honestly, I don't want any of it anymore. I'm happy that I can escape and go to Japan with close friends of mine and just do circus. So, like maybe Cirque du Soleil or something like that. That'd be cool. Thank you.
Said my contract was so bad they didn't pay me overtime or meal penalties or forced calls, and they still turned around and took more.
And I do have a problem, to Dane's point. Like, at a certain point, you're responsible for your own behavior. And you're like, if they ask you to, it's not like he's breaking the contract by
he
pulling out.
accepted a bad contract.
He accepted a bad contract, but also they're asking, he's not breaking the contract because he's not doing the stuff that was asked of him. They're asking him to do more. And he's saying yes when he should say either no or pay me up front.
Right.
It's kind of on his own.
But like, not only did he get a bad contract, but then they didn't even live up to the promises of the contract.
Exactly. So it's like,
and that's messed up for a company like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are like on
you know how
billions
that
upon
works.
millions. You know.
He said they never paid me for my rehearsals, which was in my contract, and because of it, I didn't qualify for insurance. So I had to pay out of pocket for all the PT and sports massage while training. He says, and I got less residuals because of it. Tom never paid me for them. I told you he did. And you wouldn't feel bad. And you wouldn't feel bad. So it refers. It should be noted that at present it is unclear who specifically the Tom in Bistrevsky's statement is referring to. I guess maybe his manager, his agent, or somebody like a liaison at the company.
Then this first one, titled "The Aftermath of a Broken Promise," is the first one he raised the bid from like $18,000 to $452,000.
Do you want to read that?
Sure.
How young is this person?
I don't know. What is his age? He said, but I'm going to walk away from this project. It's been a magic experience, but I also can't take any more with the disrespect and just simply no regards of human decency. I've been giving 1,000% in my training and trying to show up any way I can, but I'm done being the bigger person.
Brett, I'm getting
living
mad.
off my credit cards. I can't even look my landlord in the eyes because I haven't paid my full amount for rent for 5 months. I can barely pay for my own food and gas. I was called yesterday while I was at home to move my car.
Please stop.
I'm not going to stop because I was parked in someone else's spot. I'm Darth Vader. I'm Darth Vader, and I can't even look the kindest man I know, a police officer, in the eyes because I can't pay my own rent. I'm simply done. I have nothing else to give.
Who cares?
I don't know.
Cares?
Who is Olga?
If you have it contractually, buddy, that's legally binding. Get your money. You know? Stop. Oh my God, I was going to say. Stop freaking crying about it. You know? You can't say it's. Listen, you can't say it's magical and then be like, abuse isn't magical. I don't get smacked around
Stockholm syndrome with Disney.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get smacked in the face. It's like, oh my God, ow, that was a magical experience. No. Be consistent. Okay? They owe me money. It's in the contract. F you, pay me.
He can't fight
End of
Disney.
story.
They will have an endless parade of lawyers that he will never get through.
Listen, he just needs a hashtag to like trend marginally. These companies get 3 emails from the same guy and they fire them. You know, these companies get 2 emails from a blue-haired, you know what?
Hashtag Vader 2.
Yeah. I got that one. That was subtle. These people get 3 emails from some blue-haired people. You know what I'm talking about. And they're like, absolutely, end the project, dismantle it, we can't handle it. And like, no one's watching anything.
Yep.
And like, this guy knows that's the wave. And yet
well, he's also doing his best business because he's selling them as NFTs.
But nobody's going to bid. And somewhere, like, I'm just saying I don't believe he's going to give this to charity if he can't even pay his own rent.
Or at least not 90% of it.
When I was an intern, I got paid $10 a day. A day. The day ends and Dane got $10. Not an hour passes and Dane got $10.
When was this?
This was 9 years ago.
He's not talking about here. He's talking about
No.
Just so everyone's clear on that.
Hey everyone, Dane Fought here. I'm not an intern here. I'm the marketing manager. I'm doing quite well, thank you. Anyway, I was an intern back in Puerto Rico 9 years ago. I got paid $10 a day to work 8 to 10 hours as a production assistant, humiliating myself. And this guy,
hard work is not humiliating, Dane.
Don't get him
buddy,
started.
I can find you some humiliating to hard work, okay? Let me tell you. Anyway, this guy gets to play Darth Vader, put it in his credit, and he's being a whole schizo about it. I like it, but I love it, but I want more money. Yeah. Pick a side. Stick with it. Be consistent. Stand up for yourself if you need to. Get paid, boo-boo, but either pick a tactic. It's either flattery or it's insults.
So it continues, and he says, and we were trying to make do with the equipment and trying to address the notes that director Deborah Chow gave us while being hyper-cognitive of who was walking by because there was random construction workers, PAs, even a COVID compliance officer meeting happening during one of our sessions, the actor said. He has like weirdly really, really good language at certain points, and then at other points, maybe it's just typos. He continued, "Well, everyone is watching us train. We weren't sure who could see us rehearse bits from scenes we've worked on and who couldn't. So we would have to go through start and stops every time people we didn't know were walking through. One time the light got shut off on us in the stunt space mid-session, and we went to 16 only to find out that it was full of background people, and we didn't feel comfortable at all training in front of them," Bystrovsky said. So
Why?
the whole time we were wondering if this was happening because we were both Russian. This was in 2021. This is not like they wouldn't have cared.
But because the tension between the two countries is escalating.
But this happened in 2021,
Like,
well
this
before
doesn't make
what
any
is going on
sense.
right now. He elaborated, "We were both thinking this has nothing to do with us, but we were just trying to show up and give the character and Deb the respect they deserve. I wanted to clarify that." I'm calling BS, at least on that part there. Granted, Hollywood does like to make Russia the bad guy in just about every movie. But
It's because I'm Russian.
Yep.
So this is an afterthought.
How would
definitely.
people know?
He ups he ups the ante with the minimum
Asking for
bid
vodka.
again next.
Yeah.
It's $900,000 on
Insane.
the one titled Slippery Slope. My agent warned me that I was walking a slippery slope and that I might not be able to work with them again. And I said, why would I want to work with a company that exploits me? Interesting question. They'll just do it again. Let's just teach them
Which
that
he
they can't
literally
do
let
this to
them do.
everyone. And some people can't be bought or replaced. Well, you can.
Help
so.
pay me.
Yeah.
Help pay me to teach them a lesson is what he's saying. And I do think that this is kind of like what was it, like the Demi Lovato? She's like, I might lose some
Thank you.
fans over this, but
Right.
F Donald Trump.
And then the
Oh
next
my
one,
God.
the next one's minimum bid is $1.8 million.
Dude, I think I got that in my back. Hold on. You want to get? Who wants to go half?
You gonna
with,
bid on
Who wants
that?
to go half with me on one of these NFTs?
Yeah, we'll frame it
I'll,
here.
in like 10 years, I'll go half.
It'll
with
be worth a
someone.
lot.
Listen, the way he described his financial situation, I give that guy $20 of a Panera sandwich, and he'll tell me his whole family story. Okay, this guy is not gonna get a $1.8 million NFT for anything.
He
For
said,
anything.
would you be able to look into why my contract still hasn't been honored and I haven't been paid for my rehearsals exceeding the initial 15 freebies? I know Disney is strapped for cash right now, but 31 unpaid 4-hour rehearsals requested by the director seems a little excessive. Thanks.
Most of their CEOs got huge bonuses during COVID.
Yeah, they're totally, Disney is totally strapped for cash right now.
This is how much of a mark this guy is. This is how much of a mark this guy is.
These companies abuse people for loving these properties.
This guy went to one rehearsal, was like, I didn't get paid. He went to a second rehearsal and was like, I didn't get paid. He did that 15 times.
Well, that was agreed upon though.
15 times. And he's like, gosh, where's my money? Oh, guess I'll go to the next one.
But
Bro.
that wasn't that in his contract? It was like previously
Yeah.
agreed upon that he'd do 15 free, and then he did 16 other ones that weren't supposed to be for free, but didn't have any payment.
The
for it.
rehearsals and the reshoots, yeah. And it says down here, so after like the base pay and all the taxes taken out, he got like $942 for like a week's worth of they called it very hard labor or whatever. So you know what? It's just Dane is kind of like very anti this guy. I'm very anti Disney, and I think we sit somewhere in the
you.
middle of just they're all kind of awful.
Listen, I want to support him. I want to so bad. I've had so many terrible jobs, bro. I've been there. But you know what? When I had a terrible job, I wasn't like, thanks everyone for the experience. I sure love. I was like, this sucked. Pay me.
F you, pay me. Yep.
Sorry,
So super
gang.
chats.
Super chats.
Anyways, guys, Hava Owens said, I'm a little late, but Mike David from Red Bar is the best hate watcher out there. He goes after anybody who makes a fool of themselves.
I've heard but never seen.
He also said these actors are so cringe, dude.
Yes, they are.
So true.
Everyone like this video right now.
Yes.
I'm
Please
angry. Everyone like it.
Caber2X said Sir Brett versus Dave, the Caribbean Berserker.
I think it's Caribbean Berserker in this context.
Caribbean or Caribbean?
It's like whenever people say Pirates of the Caribbean.
I don't know at this point. Everyone's been talking about it so much.
They said like there's like speaking of the power of mimetic. Somebody's like, I always say Pirates of the Caribbean, but if it's just Caribbean, I say Caribbean.
It was
and you
always,
somehow knew what they were talking about in the meme.
Yeah, it was always Caribbean in reference to the movie.
But it's Caribbean otherwise.
Yeah. Waffles Sensei said, "Can I get more of Dane screaming like a blue-haired email campaigner, please? Music to my ears."
I love you, Waffles.
My ears are not. It's not music to my ears, which is why Dane's mic is turned down.
Thoroughly, actually.
So now you understand why Dane's mic was turned down very low.
I'm working through things. Nice.
We're all working through. We're all working through something right now.
It's been a
We
week.
can tell.
It's been a hell of a week this week. All right. We're gonna go on and talk. We're gonna talk Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa implies neutral stance on Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard verdict and receives very harsh criticism from Aquaman fans. I think he received harsh criticism from feminists, but maybe those feminists are also Aquaman fans. It says, through the tumultuous...
Well, of course, Amber's in it.
Yes. Throughout the tumultuous 6-week defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, fans have subjected Jason Momoa's every move to microscopic examination. This is why I would never want to be a celebrity. Plain and simple.
Right.
Like,
okay.
everything is freaking psychoanalyzed, and everything you do, I didn't say it. I
know.
Everything is psychoanalyzed, and it's not just what you do, it's what you don't do. It's not just, like, it's so weird to me when people, like, who, like, gang stalk and, like, look up who you like, whose tweets you like, and whose posts you like. Who has that much time in their life?
A lot of people.
That is
actually
insane.
There's a labor shortage. Anyways, like what I was gonna say earlier that I was like, no, Mary, shut up and wait for the show. Why does Jason Momoa? Why is he expected to have a stance on his co-star's legal troubles? It doesn't make sense.
I have no idea.
And then furthermore, it was a stupid decision of him to try to indirectly give his input by going and following.
He follows
at first,
them both.
He was only following Amber
Because they work together.
Then when the trial started, he went and followed Johnny because he was like, "Oh, I need to make sure everyone knows I'm not on any side."
I'm here for it, man.
But either way, you could have just unfollowed or never followed either of them. And then
he
goes
was following
and likes
her probably before.
Yeah.
So he was kind of forced into it just by the fact that he followed her before, because unfollowing her would actually cause problems.
If I were a celebrity, it'd be zero following.
Zero. Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. That's what, like, if I was a famous person, I would do the opposite of what all these people do. I would, like, especially if you're, like, mainstream establishment famous, where you didn't have to use the internet to get there. Yeah. Why would you even subject yourself to? He now has to dance like Muhammad Ali just to make sure that he doesn't screw anything up.
This poor guy hasn't been told like any better. He hasn't been taught any better how to go about this, because then after the trial he liked both of their concluding statements on Instagram, and it's like, dude, that just doesn't make sense on its face.
I wonder if it's even him. I wonder if he just has a social media manager doing it.
Even then, I wouldn't feel okay about leaving my reputation up to some intern. Like,
oh, I know, right? Like, especially if in a volatile situation like this.
You know how I see Jason Momoa as he's, like, interpreted? He's like, what's that guy from Saved by the Bell that wasn't the protagonist? He was like the Slater. He's like, he has like kind of that.
Why do you know that?
I watched Saved by the Bell.
It's very. I mean, what was the first? That's one of the few. I'm
my
very
volume
impressed.
First, Leon the Professional, now Saved by the Bell.
My co-host, ladies and gentlemen, it's awesome.
Mary Morgan,
fantastic.
He just has that, like, vibe where he's like, he's big and tough, but actually he's a little witty bear.
He's got a heart of gold.
He's a big softie. That's what they all say.
I know, but it's such a.
I just think he looks like a surfer bro.
Like, he's just trying to please everyone, and now he's getting
He looks like Genghis Khan
Dunked
after a
on for it.
decapitation. You know, he's like
What?
He looks tough. Like
He's a tough dude.
Oh.
his
So it's
branding is
that's
like
one way
he's
to
a little
say it.
fucky man who loves everyone.
So it says, while Momoa has not released any official statements addressing the legal drama, his activity on social media has been interpreted by fans as subtle hints indicating his viewpoints on the matter. I don't think he has viewpoints. I think he has professional
I think he wants to get
aspirations.
this movie out, and
Yeah.
he wants to move on with it.
Yep. The Aquaman. So, like, now think about this. Say she comes back. She has just the most, like, everything's changed. She has just the most incredible chemistry with Johnny Depp, and they're perfect on screen together. Doesn't matter anymore.
With Jason Momoa, you mean?
What did I say?
You said Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Well, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
If she comes back and has unbelievable.
Really showing off your acting
yes,
chops if you can.
and she has unbelievable
together after
chemistry
that.
with Jason Momoa, and everyone loves him, but they can't do anything about it because the non-work life is a minefield that everyone is now subjected to. Everyone involved, because there was a thing the other day where Dolph Lundgren released a statement saying, like, look, I can't speak to the trial, but when I worked with her, she was great. She was fantastic to work with. So he's going to be judged based on his take on her. Like, everything you do now off camera is now subject to ruining it for everyone else
He
in these
barely
projects.
knows this woman.
Yep.
How is he expected to speak on what she's like in private?
Yep. So it says fans criticized Momoa's diplomatic approach to the situation, arguing that neutrality is not the proper response to an issue as serious as domestic violence. Yes, it is awful when a woman beats a man up and then tells everybody that
Exactly.
nobody will believe him when he tells everyone about it. That is awful. Thank you.
Correct.
Some commentators on social media were particularly upset that he would still support Heard even after the jury reviewed all the evidence and concluded that she was indeed guilty of defamation. Look, he's got to make a movie and this has to come out. He doesn't have a choice at this point. His hand has been forced and he has to do this. This isn't the first time Momoa refrained from choosing sides. In the earlier stages of the court proceedings, he followed Depp on Instagram in what seemed to be a way to cover his bases since he had only been following Heard at the time. Like you said, I wouldn't follow anyone if I was a celebrity on social media. No way. And then there says Jason Momoa liked both of their posts. He's such a spineless coward. It says
Say that to his face.
I know, right? With a dude that size. At this time, it's unclear if Momoa is acting on his own accord or if he is heeding the advice of his PR team. Probably both. Considering that his upcoming sequel, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, has been wholly affected by the libel case. It is possible that Momoa is simply trying to not anger one side more than the other, especially when it's really not his business to begin with. The key phrase here is that it's none of his damn business.
I mean, it's no one's business, but because it was televised and publicized to the degree that it was, everyone feels like it's their personal battle.
Yep.
And it had nothing to do with us.
And that comes back to people's weird celebrity worship. It's so weird because we talk about this stuff, but we talk about it from this perspective of why are people so...
It's not just celebrity worship, though. It's also celebrity sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know?
Explain that.
I mean, someone has to be deified and someone has to be demonized.
Yep. And now there's rumors here that say that she could be removed completely from Aquaman 2. Now, the key here is rumor, but it says, consider rumor for now, but info comes from a pretty reliable source
okay.
Who claimed to
then.
have been in contact with a source who says that a meeting at WB was recently held, which said that all of Amber Heard's scenes as Mera in Aquaman 2 will be deleted. The trial saw the jury award Depp in the defamation suit, but then it's got this post here. It says, I didn't think they would, but it sounds like their next test screening should be interesting. There was a meeting, and all of Amber's scenes will be deleted from Aquaman 2, and then somebody says, no way, not really, or no way, really, and they're asking that question. And then there was another one down here.
I really hate this.
Where it says, how would they even manage that? And he says, I don't know. My guess is she dies during childbirth, but we won't know until a test. How would they do that?
What?
That would be a weirdly symbolic. I can see the feminists, the gender studies professors going nuts with.
This is just a weird way to cut out a character.
Well, she's going to be in child. I think that's part of the storyline is she's having they're having a kid in this movie, and that's one of the reasons she won't be coming back for the battle at the end. Is she's giving birth at the end of the movie,
Okay.
which will explain
Not anymore.
which will explain her lack of screen time.
I haven't seen like the full body shots of this character before. Was she like pregnant in the movie?
No, not in the first one, but time will have passed
In the second one?
one.
What do you
yeah.
guys think of this? Like, truly, like, I know no one here. I mean, only for the memes are we like Amber Heard fans. But honestly, like, no one supports like a chick that's psycho, right? But like, what do you feel about like the personal now affecting your financial?
Yep.
Like, is she still gonna get paid?
Well, I don't think she should lose her job either. I just think that what you do is you make this movie, and then in the future, what this leads to is that future directors will have to look at this and say, is this someone whose baggage I want to take with me into the film?
Okay.
And then let the industry work it out.
If she's cut out completely from the movie, is she still going to be compensated
She
for
would
the
still be-
time lost?
She would still be paid.
Like in full?
I'm guessing that she would still be paid in full.
And is her pay affected by the success of the movie?
I don't know. I didn't read
It
anywhere
shouldn't be.
whether I don't know if she's got a. I doubt she's got a percentage.
Should or shouldn't be?
Shouldn't
No, if she's not on it.
No, I'm
Well,
saying either way.
Either way.
I'm guessing Momoa has the ability to get a percentage or whatever of revenue. I don't know if she would have that same ability. But who knows whether it would go like this? Do you think part of this could also just be like really good advertising on their part?
Is it
Like
good
morbid? Like morbid, like they were
don't
like there was this article here from Chicago typewriter creator Brandon Fiadino claims outrage surrounding Moses Ingram and Obi-Wan Kenobi is a marketing op by Disney. Remember when we were talking about all the awful stuff that got said about her that was mean, but like in terms of the internet was not the worst thing I'd ever read in my entire life. And this guy basically says that. Actress Moses Ingram started the controversy when she spoke to The Independent, revealing that Lucasfilm had instructed her to expect racist abuse online. So they told her
expect it because
Yeah.
we're going to be the ones sending it.
the same
words,
the same thing happened. And Dane, don't let me get off topic here. The same thing happened when Ben Affleck got when anybody gets cast as Batman. When anybody gets cast as Batman or the Joker, they say expect there to be a flood of people. The same thing happened to Christian Bale when he got initially hired. There's like people they don't think you're capable of the job, and because people who are part of that culture, whether you want to call them fanboys, whatever it is, are very passionate people, you're going to get a lot of pushback.
Dude, it's happening to us live on chat right now. And with people that come see us almost every day. It's like, that is human nature.
Yep.
People have the perception of what they want in their heads. You're not portraying this perfect little bubble that they have in their heads, and thus they are offended.
I mean, offended, it seems weird. I or just not happy with what you're
Dissatisfied.
dissatisfied.
I
yes.
still feel that was astroturfed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it
absolutely.
shows like if I don't know how. Then again, especially from like Dane's input on the types of people who work in this industry, like people who are, in charge of marketing campaigns, like, are they really smart enough to think that far ahead to astroturf an entire hate, like, controversy of hatred against one of the actors?
Yes, because this happens all the time in these industries.
And then
now.
are they like deranged enough to actually formulate the tweets that are hateful towards that actor?
Or you just take the few that actually come in and portray it as a larger problem than it is. You're an actor.
Yeah, I
you're
saw,
going
like,
to get
3 examples.
You're going to get mean stuff said about you. We all do. Like that.
Yeah.
It's a fact of life. Choose not to read it. That's the best. Or just
And
choose
the fact
to ignore
is,
it.
like, if you also didn't want, a bunch of pushback, you should have done better acting.
Well, I can't speak to that for that role, but
you did a bad job.
in general, you should just expect it because that's the way of the world in a universe where we are now all interconnected all the time. Like I said, we are not meant to be in constant contact with everyone all the time. It is a huge flaw in society right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how are people supposed to express their dissatisfaction with media
Back
before social media?
Letter writing campaigns.
Like word of mouth, letter writing, maybe phone calling if you have a number that you can call. You probably didn't.
And it was harder to astroturf back then because of all the actual physical labor that had to go and actually mailing stuff out. So you were it would be more organic and more real.
No, it was probably easier because like no one was like wise to whatever was happening. So whatever the studio would say would be taken as law,
Yeah, I see that side of it too.
So I mean, I don't know. Like back in the day, certain shows got brought back once in a while. A show might get brought back from cancellation,
Like Community?
because of strong letter writing campaigns that came into the studio. But that's the
Or Morbius.
or more.
No.
Well, that's a modern example of it when
It's,
they don't know how to read the room. That's something like that's the downside to the democratization of the internet. So when the studio can't read the actual tone of what people are saying and make the mistake of doing something like putting Morbius back in theaters when they never should have.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should cut her out of the movie. I think they should make the movie, let Momoa, like what I can see them doing is kind of like with Armie Hammer with Death on the Nile, or Ansel Elgort with West Side Story, who both had their own scandals leading up to those releases. Obviously, Armie Hammer's was much worse, or like, I don't know if it's even worse. Like both him and Elgort had like their own allegations against them, and they just got bumped off the marketing almost entirely, right? Like when Death on the Nile first came out, Armie Hammer was heavily featured in the trailer and was one of the first names advertised. After all that stuff came out and the movie got delayed because of COVID, his name was bumped to like the second to last name at the bottom, which I feel really bad for whoever that last name was, who somehow ended up below
You're
Armie
worse
Hammer.
than Armie
You're somehow
Hammer.
worse than Armie Hammer. But like that's one of those things where it's like,
Thank
you. That's like, I just see that as like they'll just bump her and make her marketing less severe. Like she'll be less featured in the marketing. Momoa is people are going to Aquaman to see Jason Momoa without a shirt on and doing cool stuff as a superhero. They're not going there.
You like Jason Momoa without
And
a
that's
shirt.
why she's there too.
That
No one wanted to watch Amber Heard for her flawless acting.
No,
Am I right or am I right?
But now I'm
So,
even
like-
more curious because I don't think I've seen her in anything.
you should watch the original. I find her performances rather wooden, but that's just me.
We should watch the Rum Diaries just to see like a man have his life ruined over a role.
If he only knew what was coming next.
Yeah.
That was funny because it would happen in Puerto Rico too. Like we helped that.
I love it when lives get ruined in Puerto Rico, Dane says. There was a super chat there.
Yeah. Hava Owen said Johnny and Amber did what every toxic couple does. Involve everyone else. They just had the power of the world stage at their disposal is all.
Yeah, that's even more
Yeah.
depressing that they
Very true.
that they were able to just kind of make it about themselves and then the rest. Granted, I would say that most of the world seemed to enjoy being part of it, whereas we're kind of like hesitant about just how awful it is for society to kind of bolster such interactions.
There's self-involved people who think that their relationship drama is more interesting than anyone else's, and it's not.
I also want to point out that they remember they were saying Amber Heard wouldn't be able to pay like Johnny Depp, but then there was the thing about the $22,000 a month house she stayed in during the trial. I just want to show the pictures of it. Like I would
Like,
love
aren't
to.
you gonna save up for that?
You
those
should-
damages, girl. Like,
girl, if I could stay there and
or are you gonna do a GoFundMe, or are you gonna sell NFTs?
maybe that's what she'll or like
Her closing statement should have just been separated into like 5 different NFTs. Minimum bid $1 million.
maybe she can sell bathwater
Oh, that
That
would
would
sell.
work, yeah.
That would sell for
It
sure.
would actually work.
or bed sheets. She could sell bed sheets.
Oh,
To that
bitch.
one Euphoria actor.
Yeah.
A pooper scooper.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You get that.
I'm here for it. So like people were like, how can you live at this place? I don't know. Like that's whatever. Musk probably paid for it, right?
Yeah?
It was probably Elon Musk who paid for.
Got to provide for his baby mama.
I really want to know if
She has a
actually
baby?
is.
With Elon Musk. Didn't
what-
we cover this?
No way.
I don't know. Is it,
I thought we had mentioned this
is
so
that actually
often.
true? In the chat, is that actually proven that that child is Elon
It's
Musk?
all but confirmed. I mean, yeah.
Listen.
She had a surrogate baby with him. Yeah.
Listen, you know me. I'm tinfoil Dane. I'm down. I'm down to take this as a fact, like from now on.
Okay.
Just give me the sign.
I mean, go ahead. Yeah. And then people thought that he was going to testify and then he didn't.
You didn't have to.
But yeah, highly speculated. I haven't seen this child. I don't know how old their child is or what, like, yeah, but highly speculated.
incredible.
Quite a bit.
Incredible.
All right, Dane. Do you wanna? I'll have to turn your mic down. Are you ready
Oh
to talk
my
about Street
God,
Fighter?
dude.
All right, Dane. I'll just let you lead this discussion. So Dane wants to talk about Kotaku writer Ian Walker falsely claims that Street Fighter VI will feature the series' first playable black woman. Go.
Guys, let's do a quick Google search. I know you guys can't see
That's
me.
the worst part is the lack of research.
I know
More-
you
more
guys
than
can't
anything.
see me, but I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to put black characters in Street Fighter. Okay? You can do this at home with me, guys. Okay.
It's audience interaction.
Yep, they love it.
I
Follow
get I pull it up, and I get a list. It's like 15 Street Fighter black characters ranked. Let's see. Oh, what is this? Not only do I see multiple African American characters, but I see this delightful female. I believe her name is Helena. I don't know. And she's from Kenya. So that was approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds
Of searching.
with all my.
Is that a playable character?
Yeah, not only is she a playable character, she was the best character in the former iteration of the game.
Are you excited for Street Fighter 6?
I am cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
This took a minute Google search. A minute. These people are just freaking dying to at any moment say, oh my God, the first.
Yeah, we are in a society that is like addicted to the idea of being the first anything. Like people love the idea of somebody. It's funny because somebody made a comment like about like, are you ready for weird and wacky like sort of irrelevant Hollywood records? And they were in reference to Top Gun. I'm like, Hollywood is always talking about weird firsts and weird. I'm the first person.
It's all just contrived to make headlines.
Exactly.
And make
Well,
awards.
One of the best examples recently was like somebody talked about Simone Biles. Is that her name? The gymnast? They're like she was the first U.S. gymnast to do something, and they said not the first woman, not the first African American woman, the first ever. I'm like, yes, that is something to be celebrated and brag about. But they're always looking for like these weird pocket records or pocket firsts that they're obsessed with for whatever reason because they want to watch. And like this, it's even worse because he knows it's not true, so he just wants to cause drama and controversy.
And Broseph, this is what I'm saying. It's like, oh my God, I'm so happy that someone from my culture can be represented to get punched in the face by Ryu. Oh my God, I'm so happy that Chun-Li can finally kick me in the face. My brother in Christ, who cares?
Speaking of Chun-Li, that there's going to be a different voice actress playing her this year. They're not going to do Laura Bailey anymore, which is a bummer because Laura Bailey's awesome. She's a really talented voice actress. I don't know if you've ever seen Legend of Vox Machina. She plays Lois Lane a lot in the DC animated world.
There's Chun-Li was like the main character I used for a long while, so I've heard this woman talk.
Yep.
Incessantly.
Jenny Kwan will be stepping into that role because there's the whole thing about like they don't want people who are not of that race portraying characters anymore. I don't know if the same thing holds true for gender. And certainly they don't allow kids to.
It shouldn't.
Who's gonna do Blanca's voice? Do we have any like jungle men from Brazil that were like mutated into electricity? Because unless we have a mutated man who lost his mother and then got charged by over electricity, we need that representation in the voice acting, don't we, guys? We don't.
Bart Simpson's portrayed by a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it shouldn't
There are
matter.
tons of examples.
Exactly. It shouldn't matter.
Mostly women who do
kids.
Yeah, like kid
we'll
roles.
do kids' voice. So it says Chun-Li as a fresh. Actually, first before we do that, since we know the fact that, what are you most looking forward to about Street Fighter 6 that you've seen so far?
The thing I'm most looking forward to Street Fighter 6 is Street Fighter 5 dying in irrelevance for being the worst game in human history.
Dane, Dane being a lifelong Street Fighter fan, Dane is particularly offended by Street Fighter 5.
I am a lifelong Street Fighter fan. Ricardo Roman Mono, like from the FGC, is my homie. Me and that dude went to college. I went to his birthday parties. We bros, you know, and he's like top Capcom Pro 2 ranked player, and like he literally hosts a major, and I used to do marketing for that event. Like I've put hours into this godforsaken community that where like nothing blooms from it.
Yeah.
And it's like we've like literally tried to revive this niche scene, and Capcom has like spit in our face all the way through.
Yep.
All the way through. So I'm hoping this is good. I mean, obviously things aren't going good because the game was just leaked and the whole roster was leaked. So obviously, like Capcom, like employees are disgruntled to the point where they want to constantly leak things for their company and make it look bad. That makes me feel like, you know, there's not a good relationship between them and the players and their employees and whatnot.
So it says hailing from Kenya. Okay, yeah. So they go through that. There's been more than that. So do you think he just another one? Do you think that he just didn't do his research, or do you think he just wanted to be incendiary and cause problems?
He was just dying to be the guy that could go to a girl at Starbucks and be like, I made an article about the first woman African-American Street Fighter character. And like,
I mean, it shows your hand that you don't know about the properties you're writing about.
So that she could brush him off and be like, sir, this is a Starbucks.
And that's a pretty common complaint amongst gamers. I'm not a gamer, but like, is that the writers of these articles don't actually play the games.
You never know if they're being told to make a headline like this. Yeah. Here's the format. This person did the first thing for this group.
Yeah.
They made a whole story in something that is verifiably false and that was fact-checked humorously in a minute, and that can be fact-checked seriously in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
This is the extent of professionalism right now in journalism as a whole. Not even a cursory, is that a word?
Cursory.
Thank you. Not even a cursory freaking Google search. They cannot be bothered to do their jobs. They cannot be bothered because they just have to celebrate things that aren't happening.
So his tweet says, you celebrate Street Fighter 6, including the franchise's first playable black woman, and suddenly everyone wants to question your street cred. You forgot about Elena. He says, I've been playing Street Fighter games for almost 30 years. Elena is Kenyan. Kimberly is African-American. There's a difference. So, is that true? Is that accurate?
I mean, what's his claim then? Yeah. The first African-American
that doesn't make her black
woman?
I don't get it. Like that. So she's not black because she's I'm confused.
Is it particularly special if like?
He says so. The franchise's first playable black woman, and suddenly everyone wants to question your street cred because you forgot about Elena. I've been playing Street Fighter games for almost 30 years. Elena is Kenyan. Kimberly is African-American. There's a difference. So what does that have to do with them being black?
What is his claim? What is his claim?
He said the same thing happened every time black women used to ask for representation in Overwatch before Sojourn. Symmetra is Indian. Farah is Egyptian. Those do not reflect the unique and separate culture of the African diaspora in America, which rarely receives attention in games. I mean, it's a fighting game. Is there going to be a lot of attention paid to that part of the story?
Who cares? No one cares. No one cares.
But he didn't make any further distinctions. He just said first playable black character. If the other characters were black but just of a different location, that doesn't matter. It's still
That's what I'm saying. Like,
they're weirdly obsessed with this stuff. It's creepy.
You got caught with your pants down. You didn't do your work. You didn't do your research. You're getting clobbered on Twitter. Welcome to the club. And it's like, just take the L and be like, hey, sorry guys. I know, a retraction. Say the second. Modify it.
This comment says, so this author's thesis is Kenyan is not equal to black as African American is equal to black. I'm genuinely stunned. That's like saying men are women and can give birth.
What does that mean?
He means politically black, so the U.S. blacks are the only ones who count. I'm not going into this. These people are insane.
Is it?
The guy who wrote that article is who wrote the tweet is clearly
just getting so convoluted is enough to make you go insane.
And just roll your eyes and want to just tune out.
Do we need like DLC kente cloths?
Apparently.
To like be black enough? Do we need, the black power fist? It was like, oh, now we got it. Now
in a Street Fighter game of all things.
Like now it's for real.
Yep.
Get out, dude.
Yep. And I also want to finish with this amazing piece of story from Disney is under fire for employee interrupting theme park marriage proposal.
I was so confused by this because I would bet there are multiple marriage proposals at Disney
all the time,
every single day, on a daily basis, maybe hourly. They happen so often that you would think they'd be trained to just let people do their thing.
I kind of like the idea that the guy who did this is just in a bad mood. And he's like, not on my watch. And he just interrupts it and ruins it for him. So it says a video showing a Disney Paris theme park marriage proposal being interrupted is drawing online condemnation for ruining a couple's special moment. The man's proposing marriage to his girlfriend reportedly asked permission from a park employee before mounting a platform in front of Cinderella's castle to pop the question. As he drops to his knee holding a ring box, a male employee runs into the scene, darts between the couple, and grabs the ring box. He then gets off the platform and gestures to the couple to complete their ceremony off the platform. Total lack of I wonder if we can watch it here. Let's try. Sorry. Here we go.
Oh my god.
They won't let me full screen here. And he's wearing the ears, which makes it even...
Get out. Dude, imagine being that guy. He's like, baby, we've been through so much and I love you. And there's like some...
Wait, let's watch it one more time. Sorry, guys, we can't make it bigger. It won't let me full screen it embedded.
He swooped in.
He literally swooped in. Thank you.
They're so calm about it, too.
He literally swooped.
Over here, it's gonna be even better.
It's going to be even better.
Why can't they do it on the platform?
Slow motion. Oh my god. Oh my god.
He just makes a beeline.
Dude.
He took the ring first. He didn't
Whoa.
even stop. He's like...
He took the ring.
Because he knew that meant they would walk away. Like, if he just
What a
came up to them
demon.
and told them.
What a demon.
The mouse ears make it so
Much
much worse.
He's just like, oh, people are going to see this and they're going to see me in my stupid mouse ears. And I feel bad. I wonder
That's
if the
what
guy
you
was...
wanted,
no,
right?
I wonder if that guy was instructed to do that. I don't know why he would
Why
be.
does he have to take the fall?
Yep. He says, we regret the way this... okay, so it says, a male employee runs into the scene, darts between the couple, and grabs the rim box. He then gets on off the platform and gestures for the couple to complete their ceremony off the platform. We regret how this was handled, a Disney spokesperson told Newsweek. We have apologized to the couple and even offered to make it right. I wonder how do you... It's like, okay, you're supposed to get married literally once in your entire life, which means this dude, if this is his first marriage, has likely been planning this for a very long time. He's had it in his mind. Women have been sold this idea of the perfect marriage and the perfect proposal, and this guy's got this thing all worked out, and then just Carl from Disney Paris swoops in.
Your dream is crushed.
In your dream is... How do you make that right? How do you make that right?
You only have one moment for a proposal, and then he just... I
He
mean, I
asked
guess it's a
permission.
funny story for them.
I mean, if I guess if they're okay with it, but I feel bad.
I wouldn't
for
be
him.
cool with someone just snatching something worth thousands of dollars out of my hand.
Wait,
I don't
what?
care if you're an employee or not.
It says in 2018, a man sued the company for interrupting his proposal at Orlando's Disney World Resort. The lawsuit also accused an employee of physical harassment. I'm just picturing every day you work there, there's some guy who's getting divorced or in a bad mood that works there. Who's just like, no, there will be no magic in the world of marriage today. Not at my Disney World. That's I feel bad for the couple there, man. That's
Yeah.
What a shame.
it is a shame. It is weird that he grabbed the ring first.
Because if he had just come up to them and tapped on the shoulder,
Yeah.
they would not have moved.
Nope.
He knew he had to steal their personal property for them to walk off the platform and get it.
Where is the Mary? Where is the perfect proposal location? Does that exist?
Not in front of all of these people and the internet.
Yeah, not
maybe.
Disney.
Not Disney, that's for sure. Maybe they deserved it because proposing at Disney is
Yeah.
almost on par with proposing at Olive Garden.
It's the Obi-Wan. it's
Why was that so funny?
it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader actor comes down and takes the ring because he's in a bad mood from a bad day at work and just runs off with the ring. So not Olive Garden.
Yeah, not Olive Garden,
Even if
especially
they-
on Valentine's Day.
Even with that's such a weird thing to say. It's almost like do you know somebody that happened to?
No,
Where does that
no, I swear, go to Olive Garden on Valentine's Day. Wait all day. Okay,
I'm
you
not
will
doing
see
that.
multiple proposals.
I'm not doing that. I'm not. I mean, I'll go to Olive Garden, but I'm not going there on Valentine's Day. And I'm certainly not waiting for somebody to propose to someone else. I will pass on that. So, Dane, where if you were to give the perfect proposal somewhere, where would that be?
Bro, I don't even know. I don't even know.
No clue.
No
clue. All right. We had a super chat there.
Yes, Nathan Koss said, in the words of our glorious president, I don't know if I want to say that.
Yeah, you don't want to clip that. It says
they see race as political as well as color, and it's really stupid and weird. More barriers just to separate everyone. Sorry, I can't read that.
Yep.
That it's just a little on the nose.
That is the plight of intersectionalism to me. So that's the world we live in now. Unfortunately, it's a
well.
bummer.
There's never gonna be a day where they're like, "We did it, guys.
No.
We reached all the milestones that we wanted to reach, and it's over."
It's one of
Yay!
It's one of the downsides of activism as a whole. It's like there is never an end goal, because if you reach the end goal, then the group or whatever doesn't have a purpose of existing anymore. So they have to move the goalpost constantly and keep changing things, and that's a problem.
Under a Dane Font dictatorship, we would reach that, or else.
I would enjoy a Dane Font dictatorship.
You heard it here first.
I think I would be treated well in that
Probably.
kingdom.
You shall achieve a position of power.
Thank you so much.
She-
Should I be chief of information?
Sure.
Oh, so we're gonna have our very own disinformation, our disinformation board.
Basically,
Perfect.
if you say something Mary doesn't like, you're out.
So it's like marriage, anyways, just under a dictatorship.
Brett is the Tsar of spicy Latinxes.
That's. I want that on a business card.
You will.
Perfect. Dane, thank you so much for coming today, man.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
That was the most insincere thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Dane Font on Twitter.
That's it for Dane. Just Dane Font on Twitter. Mary, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and WeChat at Closer Kitty. Whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
And you will not find her at Disney World getting proposed to by anyone, because it's not a good
Never.
place to be proposed to.
No.
I hope it happens there.
It could.
I mean, if it does happen, it's going to be a no. It's going to be a respectful no.
Oh, at least it's a respectful no. That's good. That's good. All right, guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic for the show Monday through Friday right here on youtube.com/popculturecrisis, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific Standard Time, which means you can eat a Cali burrito and watch the show. If you want to listen to us, you can follow us on, what is it now? We are on whatever various listening platforms. I'm drawing a blank here.
YouTube, Spotify.
No,
Pandora.
Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts,
Apple
Pandora,
Podcasts.
all those. My brain just shut off there. It's a Monday, guys. That's fine. We are also on social media. We are on Twitter. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's a
Yellow
heart.
Fluffy Feathers said
Thanks.
thank you.
you.
In a heart.
Thank you. Yellow Fluffy Feathers. I didn't screw that up too much. We're on social media. We're on Twitter at popculture_show. We are on Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and we are on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.